Yo, what's up everybody? It's your good pal Merc back here with some more Draft League content. Yep, we are here, we're back again, and I'm very excited to be bringing you my very first week of Season 8 of the NPL. I'm so excited to be bringing you this season. I feel good about it, and to start it off, it's gonna be a tough season, and we're going to begin that tough road by playing our old nemesis, and, well, not nemesis, but foe, Aberforth, coach of the Newcastle Umbreons. Now, in our last two meetings, he's beaten me both times, and he's definitely been someone that I've struggled with to beat in the past, just kind of how our play styles have kind of just gone up against each other. But this season, I'm feeling pretty good about it, so let's, my draft, if you don't remember it or you didn't watch the draft analysis, which I recommend you do, is Tapu Lele, Zapdos, Heatran, Kartana, Alomomola, Mega Venusaur, Umbreon, Z Aerodactyl, Z Dugtrio, and Throw. And my opponent Abe's team is Mega Latios, Tapu Fini, Tyranitar, Snorlax, Z Roserade, Thundurus T, Bronzong, Hitmonlee, Palisand, Yanmega Z, and Z Typhlosion. So a lot of mons there. He has like a full roster, and he's got a lot of spooky things. In some ways it's a very Abe-like team in that there's a ton of offense and a lot of setup potential, but it's also a little uncharacteristic of Abe since it's a lot bulkier than normal teams he drafts. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how we can do it. I got a lot of help in this game, just kind of trying to prep for not so much like mocks, and prepping for how like he plays, but prepping in ways that like how to beat his general style of playing, since I know from experience that Abe's always going to bring the things that I don't really anticipate. I can't, in my two outings against him, I really wasn't sure what he was going to bring either time. He's a bit of a wild card, I find, mainly because maybe that just might be Bird being a wild card, who knows, but it's hard to predict what he'll bring. So with guys like Abe, it's a lot easier to counter style them than to counter team them, because I know that Abe's going to bring some sort of hyper offensive team. That's just how he builds, that's how he plays. He's very aggressive, so I had to kind of account for that and make it so that this game relied on outplaying as little as possible, that I just was able to take routes that would let me just kind of use my plans instead of having to use my play, because if we're just going mano a mano, he's a better player than I am, I believe, but I do believe that I am a better planner and builder and executioner of plans, so we'll kind of see how that goes. It's more the battle of, like, I wouldn't say brain versus brawn, but it's kind of like that, I guess. Anyways, let's talk about his team. So there's nothing too crazy about his team. He got Mega Latios, which is very scary. My team can, some of my mons can deal with it all right, but it also invalidates a lot of my bulkier mons, so that's why you're not seeing like Mega Venusaur and Aloe, and like even Heatran and those kind of things, and especially Throw, just because Mega Latios can beat all of those. And I really didn't want to allow Latios to get any traction in this game since it's one of his best mons against me. Some of his other really big threats, T-Tar can two-shot my entire team if he's choice banded, though there are some reasons why he wouldn't want to run a banded set. Thundy T is a huge threat to my team. If he gets up like a double dance, then I pretty much just lose, so I had to make some preparations around that. Bronzong's going to be annoying. Bronzong is going to come, I'm confident of that, because it's his Psychic Resist, which it's a really good Psychic Resist, and it's overall just a good Lele switch-in. I kind of felt like he'd just bring some iteration of his top 6 mons, but like Roserade's definitely a big threat. Since it gets Psychic Terrain, it could potentially beat my, well, it can beat my Venusaur with just like spamming extra sensory and terrain or going for the Shattered Psyche, since he has that, and it could set up spikes. Originally I did have Venusaur on this team, but I felt that it just gave up too much momentum, so I dropped it. Though he has a lot of different things. One of the big things that he has to account for is Kartana. Now his only thing that outspeeds Kartana naturally is Mega Latios. Megalodios is his fastest mon at base 110. Everything under that is one outsped by Kartana and pretty close to O-code by Kartana. Cart does so much work in this game, and that's like one of my big win cons, and I'll explain kind of how my team facilitates it in making it win. But overall, Kartana is really, really good against his team, as are a few other mons against him. But yeah, that's a big threat. Some of the things I had to kind of account for would be like Psychic Seed or Misty Seed Hitmonlee, since it can get the Unburden boost. I needed to have a way to be able to deal with that. Obviously, I had to have a way to get rid of the T-Tar, since that's such a problem against my team, because T-Tar and Bronzong are the two things that stop me completely from clicking my strongest move with Lele, which is a little annoying. So yeah, that's a thing, though it is more setup fodder for some other mons. But Snorlax I felt was a big threat. Lele or Finny was going to be annoying since it can mess with my own terrain and stuff. But let's just kind of talk about my team since it's been 6 minutes. As you've been seeing, I'm bringing a Choice Scarf Lele with Moonblast, Shadow Ball, Psychic, and Magic Room. Now Magic Room's the kicker of this set. My EVs are very standard. It's just enough to outrun a max speed Timid Roserade in case I get knocked off, or if he's a Scarf Roserade. I didn't really want to be aggressive this week, just because I want to guarantee outspeed stuff, since things like Roserade are a big threat to me. But yeah, the kicker here is Magic Room. Now, if you don't know what Magic Room does, for 5 turns, all held items have no effect. And it's not the same thing as Trick Room, where it has negative priority, so in some scenarios, getting off a Choice Scarf Magic Room could be very beneficial for my team, and I'll explain that a little more as we go into Kartana. But one of the things that I liked for Lele especially is if I'm in a late game matchup where he has stuff like, say, Roserade, Bronzong, and T-Tar left, and I have enough health to where I can take one hit and then set up the Magic Room, I have the coverage to kill everything on his team. And I won't have to lock myself into one attacking move. So that's one thing I did like. Magic Room's also nice to cancel out Choice Scarfers on his side, disable Terrain Seed on the Hitmonlee, which could be scary. And another big one is if he's a Berry Snorlax, which is most likely, then he won't be able to activate that, which will be good. And also just gets rid of like resist berries and that sort of thing. So I felt this, just as a 4th move, that's like the best thing Lele can do for me in this matchup. Sure, it's a Choice Scarfer. It's a very good Revenger, since Psychic and Moonblast do a lot to his team. If I can weaken things I bumped my mic. If I do things properly, then this thing could be a very good late game sweeper. But I'm just more anticipating it to kind of just be there to revenge, get up a clutch Magic Room if I need it. But yeah, that's about all it does. It's pretty standard. It's definitely not like gonna completely wreck him this game just because of the team matchup, but it's very important to check a lot of his mons, like the Megalodios, the Thundurus, Hitmonlee, T-Tar to an extent, and that sort of thing. So next, I've got my Zapdos. I'm just bringing a bulky set with Lefty's Pressure, Roost, HP Ice, Volt Switch, Defog. I needed Defog this game because he's got spikes, and I don't want to get Hazard stacked, especially because that would be just really bad for my team. So I'm just bringing super standard Zapdos. There's not much to stay here. My speed on this thing, let me try and remember. The speed is here to, I believe, catch a Roserade that's speed creeping like max speed Heatran or max speed Venusaur. I think it's from max speed Heatran, because I know Abe would not respect the max speed Mega Venusaur as a speed tier, unless I'm totally wrong on that. But yeah, got that. And then my HP, so I'm max HP and then 60 defense and 124 special defense. Those bulk investments are here to help take hits from like the Megalodios and the Yanmega and that sort of thing. I don't believe I'm 2-hit KO'd by Yanmega with this spread. He can't 2-hit KO me with either of his Psychic Stabs with Megalodios, which is good. And overall, this thing is here for defog and to just kind of pivot things, get the Volt Switch, which is nice, and have a thing that can take a hit from the Thundurus and hit it back hard with HP Ice. So that was all good. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have with Zapdos, just a good pivot. Defog is going to be important though, for sure. Next, I've got my big win con, which is my Kartana. I'm running Life Orb Cart with Leaf Blade, Sacred Sword, Knock, and Tailwind. I'm actually just running Max in the case that if he wanted to be aggressive with his Mega Latios and just outspeed my Kartana trying to outrun, say, his Thunderous T, then I'd be able to outspeed that if, like, worst came to worst. And I'd only have like 40 extra EVs in, so I have to hit 341, I think. So I'd only have like 32 extra EVs in HP or something like that. Shout out to Kyle for that idea, and with no HP investment, that gives me a Life Orb number anyway, so that's fine. Tailwind's cool because if I get the opportunity to Tailwind, which I don't think I will, and his team's weakened, then he just dies. Like, he loses Mons. If you look at his team and you look at Life Orb Kartana, he has no switch-ins. He has none. Not one thing on his team switches into 2 of these hits if I predict correctly, which is just nice. It's very nice. And this is one thing, this is my biggest abuser of a potential Magic Room, because if I get rid of the Mega Latios, he has nothing that naturally outspeeds Kartana. So if I get in a position where I can get rid of the Mega Latios, then, and his team's properly weakened, I'll just go into Lele. If it's low especially, that'd be good. Go for the Magic Room, he knocks me out, I go into Kartana, and then I just pick up 4 or 5 kills and the game ends. That's the goal with Kart. Obviously, since the Magic Room's up, I won't have my Life Orb boost, but against the right thing, and if the right chip is given, then this will be able to knock stuff out and get a nice sweep going, kind of like a Scarf Cart would, but without the Scarf, with Magic Room. So, and Tailwind is to set itself up if I find the opportunity to do so. So that's like really good. Cart is super important in this game. It checks the Snorlax, and Sacred Sword ignores Curse defense boosts. Like I said, it outspeeds like everything, so I can hit things really hard. Leaf, he doesn't have good grass resists, and the things that resist grass don't like Sacred Sword and Knockoff. So overall, this thing is just really nasty against his team. Like, he doesn't have good switch-ins to it, and that's kind of why I think he's going to want to bring a really offensive team with like Scarfers and potentially the Unburden Hitmonlee and stuff, just to make sure that he can keep this thing under control, because if not, then Kart's just going to go completely wild against his team. Next, I've got my Umbreon. I'm just running like a pretty specially bulky one with Wish, Protect, Baton Pass, and Foul Play. Umbreon with lefties. Umbreon's very important in this game because it keeps the Latios, the Thundurus to an extent, and the Roserade in check. Those are the 3 big things that I wanted Umbreon for. Obviously, Thundurus can break through this thing with Nasty Plot, but in the cases of Latios and Roserade, they really can't do much against me. Even like Z, Dazzling Gleam, Roserade doesn't do that much against Umbreon, and I can stall it out. But even more than just being a defensive backbone of the team, it gets Baton Pass, which is the big thing here. And the reason why I love Baton Pass, and you can probably guess that with Dougie that's going to have some great synergy, is that this thing invites in Mons like Roserade to set up spikes. It invites in, say, the T-Tar to just get off big banded hits or to set up Dragon Dances or something. It invites those 2 Mons in particular in, and with that I can just click Baton Pass on a predicted switch, or if I'm in enough health where I can just Baton Pass out, get the slow pass into my Dugtrio, then I trap them. And in the case that they're like Shed Shell or something, then that means they don't have a useful item, which means they're less of a threat against my team. So my next member is Dugtrio. Now this thing is vitally important against him. I'm running Groundium Z with Arena Trap, of course, EQ, Night Slash, Stone Edge, and Stealth Rock, just pretty much max speed, max attack with a little bit of HP. My speed is to outrun a Jolly max speed T-Tart +1, so whether it be Scarfed, whether it be Dragon Dance, I will be able to outrun it, which is really good. This obviously lets me outpace like the Latios and, well, everything on his team. And Dougie is actually a pretty good threat against his team. If the right things are weakened, this has the potential to clean up just because of its coverage and its speed stat. But this thing is going to be super important because Groundium Z basically lets me get rid of like T-Tar or the Roserade. Those were my 2 big things that I wanted to trap with this thing. and it gets up my rocks. I don't really anticipate that I'm going to get the opportunity to set rocks unless I'm in a position where I'm fine to sack my Dugtrio. But Dugtrio has a lot of staying power in this game, since I can get the slow baton pass into it off the T-Tar, the Roserade, trap one of those and get rid of it with my Z-Ground, and then I can hopefully trap another Mon and get a big hit off of it. So Dougie's got a lot. It's really important in this game. If I can get rid of the T-Tar, then I can potentially stall his team a little bit with the Umbreon. It gives my Lele one less thing that it has to click Moonblast against, and one more thing it can click Psychic. A little more opportunity to click Psychic. This gives me a thing that can revenge kill a weakened Mega Latios, since I do have the Night Slash, which is neat. And yeah, that sort of thing. Like, it's just good. It's really good against his team for just doing its job of trapping things. And I love the ability to slow baton pass into my trapper so that I don't risk Dugtrio, so I don't have to pull fancy doubles. I'm just like, and the beauty of slow BP is even if they make a play to where they can't get trapped, they switch into something else. If I just click baton pass, then I can go out into one of my other members and take advantage of it, like getting free switch-ins into my Lele or my Cart or my Zapdos, get more momentum, or even my Aerodactyl are all good. So let's talk about my Arrow, which is my last pick. This was here to be kind of a stopgap to a lot of things on his team, so it's kind of a funky spread. But we've got the Wakanberry with Unnerve, Roost, Taunt, Stone Edge, Crunch, 64 HP, 108 attack, 240 special defense, and 96 speed, Jolly Nature. So this is a little wacky. First and foremost, this speed is going to allow me to outrun the Mega Latios. In this case, I didn't really care about outrunning the +1 T-Tar, just because I wanted the bulk on this thing. So as you can probably guess by this funny investment, this is here to check the Thundurus. With 108 attack and Stone Edge, I always knock out Thundy, and because I have Unnerve, he can't use the Charty Berry to let him take a hit, which is really good. With my investment, I always take every single I take a Thunderbolt no matter what after rocks if he's boosted up. Like if he specs Thunderbolt, I think I might die, but if he specs Thunderbolt, he's less of a problem because he can't set up. This is a safeguard against setup, especially in Agility Thundurus, because with the Wakanberry, I take a T-Bolt after rocks, even if he's Life Orb, and then I knock him out with Stone Edge. This is also a Snorlax check, especially if I catch it before it can boost, because with Unnerve, he can't get his berry, and with Taunt, I stop it, and if he's got Return or Body Slam, then those hits aren't doing that much to me, though Arrow is pretty weak, or is pretty frail on the physical side, especially in this matchup. But yeah, this lets me take hits from... It gives me a thing to check Snorlax, it gives me a thing to check the Thundurus. This also lets me check the Latios, since I can crunch it and I can taunt it and that sort of thing, and overall it's just very useful. It also helps me check Mega and the potentially the Roserade, but the Typhlosion. So this thing has a lot of utility in this game. Taunt is just a good move against Abe in general, since he loves setting up. Like I know very well that he just loves setting up and using that offense to do all sorts of dirty things. Like I knew in this game I would never ever bring a defensive team just because he'd be able to break through it like that. It would be easy for him to do so. So yeah, like I felt this was a pretty good addition to the team. Unnerve Wakan thing is going to be nice, and yeah, that's the team. So kind of the general ideas of it is that we've got slow baton pass with Dougie to help get rid of T-Tar and Roserade, since those are really big threats, especially like Zapdos, but also to Aerodactyl and to Umbreon and to even Lele to an extent. We've got both Tailwind and Magic Room support for a Kartana sweep, or potentially for a Lele sweep. We've got Zapdos to keep hazards and potentially screens off the field for just keeping my team healthy, since I don't want to get spike stacked, because if I do, then I'm going to be in a bad spot. One thing is I kind of wish I had like T-Bolt instead of Volt Switch, or I wish I had like one extra slot, or if I had like Heat Wave and Volt Switch, that might have been a little better in this matchup, but Zapdos did suffer from the 4 move slot syndrome. I'll explain that in the game. But yeah, this is the team. I'm pretty confident with it, and my mindset, like, I just remember walking back to my dorm and I was like, knowing that I was going to play Abe that night, I was like, all right, let's go beat up Abe. Let's do this. So I was really pumped, and let's get into the battle. Alright, and here we are, and like I said, Abe always brings a team that I'm not really anticipating him. So as we see here, we don't see a Tapu Fini, and we don't see a Mega Latios. Now that just blew my mind. And once I saw, the second I saw no Mega Latios, I was like, Magic Room is going to go up sometime in this game, and Kartana is just going to body his team. That was my thought process right out of the gate, after a bit of shock from not seeing the Mega Latios, just because I thought it was so excellent against my team. But the matchup becomes a lot better in my favor, since he just loses that one thing that puts immense pressure on my team and that makes my play predictable. Because if he's got the Latios out, he can always predict the Umbreon or the T-Tar or the Lele to come in, and then he can go like into his T-Tar, or he can go into his like Hitmonlee or something like that and do some big damage against me. So very happy not to see that. Because it's no Lele, I considered the fact that he could be or Curselax with Rest, but I still felt that Barry with Fire Punch was a lot more likely, because if not, then he's just beaten and set up fodder by this guy over here. But yeah, let's hop into this one. Let's do this. So I'm gonna go ahead and lead with my Zapdos. This was like my this was always gonna be my lead in this game, just because nothing else really led that well. And he leads Bronzong. Now I'm gonna go for the Volt Switch here, kind of test the waters, see what he's got, and that's gonna do 23. That damage shows me he's got some special defense investment, but I don't think he's max special defense. I'm just going to go into Umbreon here, hopefully fire off a Foul Play, pop a Colbur or something like that. But then he goes for the Light Screen. I'm like, oh no, let's get out of here. I go for the Baton Pass right back into Zapdos as he sets rocks, and I was like, we're defogging. I can't let screens be up in this game. If he has screens up and he can set up, then I'm like dead in the water. So I'm just gonna keep on clicking defog. And here's where I talked about in my builder, I really wish I had like Heat Wave instead of HP Ice, as I can't do anything to this Bronzong. Like, I need my Zapdos to stay in, but to do that I have to click HP Ice, which does 7%. So he finally gets himself in a position where he can get the free T-Tar switch on my Zapdos. Now at this point in the game, Zapdos is important, sure. However, if he was a Scarf T-Tar, he had a chance to knock me out, but I was willing to take that risk and get the Volt Switch off, get the slow Volt Switch off into my Dugtrio. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is click Volt Switch. He turns out not to be Scarfed. That damage shows me he's like max HP. I'm just going to go into Umbreon here as he fires off the Stone Edge, and that damage shows me that he's definitely not Adamant. I wasn't sure what this was, but I knew he wasn't Adamant max attack. It could be Jolly max attack potentially, but I wasn't sure. So here, I'm just going to click Baton Pass as he goes for the Focus Punch, and I'm like, whoa, okay. So now I can't bring in my Dugtrio. So I don't know if it was specifically for that strategy of Dougie Baton Pass, but if it is, props to him. But the second I see Focus Punch, I'm like, I gotta get out of here. So I go into my Lele, just because it can take that hit. He goes for the Focus Punch. It does 20. And at this point, I know because he's Focus Punch that my cart should be a pretty safe switching right here. So I'm going to go into that as he's going to DD up. Now this is scary. Here, obviously, I have the potential Choice Scarf Bluff, since Scarf Kartana would be a really great bring against him. But either way, I don't want to risk him being Fire Punch, even though it's unlikely, since he probably wants to have Crunch against my team. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm just going to switch out into my Umbreon, just trying to sack it off to get the free switch into Dougie. But he's going to go Roserade. Now this works fine for me. I'm just going to click Wish first, and then I'm going to Baton Pass. As he does show the Spike, he's going to Sludge Bomb here. Now I'm going to be able to Baton Pass into my Dugtrio. Get it back to full, which doesn't really matter, but it's nice. And here, I don't think he's Shed Shell, and I wasn't willing, if I over-predicted and considered him to be Shed Shell and made some play, like, I'm sorry, I'm turning my phone notifications off. Basically, I'm just going to go for the Groundium here. I need to get rid of this Roserade. It's going to be a pain in my side if I don't get rid of it. So I'm just going to go for the ground Z and really hope that he's not Shed Shell. I don't think he will be. And he stays in right here, and I'm going to be able to fire off the Tectonic Rage, get rid of his Roserade. Now that's big. I get rid of a huge threat to my team. Now I'm going to go into my Aerodactyl here and just stop this thing from doing anything, as he is just going to go right for the Curse. Now this is okay because I can taunt him right away, and then I can fire off 2 Stone Edges or Stone Edge and like put him in range. He goes for the Body Slam, and I'm going to fire off a Stone Edge, and I miss. Now this is actually kind of important, and I'll explain it in a bit. He's going to go for another Body Slam and get the Para, and I'm going to fire off the Stone Edge and do 21 or 20. So I really wish I hit that edge, because then he would be in range of Kartana. But he's going to knock me out the Body Slam here. So now basically I was kind of fearing him to be like a Chople Berry Snorlax or something, and I wasn't running calcs at this point. I was just kind of like autopilot mode. I was like, if he's Chople or something, I have to just go right for the Magic Room right here. Also in the case that if he tried to recycle against my Lele, I could just start firing off Psychics and he wouldn't be able to get his Berry after that. So I'm gonna just go for the Magic Room right here and just try and go for broke with my Kartana. He's gonna go for the Body Slam, it knocks me out, and now I have 4 turns with the Magic Room. And here's where I go for the Sacred Sword and I get a crit. Now this mattered. It wouldn't have knocked him out without the crit. However, if I hit that Stone Edge, I would have knocked him out. So that's kind of awkward, but if I just hit my Stone Edges, then I wouldn't be in this scenario. But I'm able to knock him out with the Sacred Sword right here. I still think at this point, even if he was Fire Punch and he did take this, I still had the potential to bring it back with like my Dugtrio and my Zapdos and even my Umbreon. I still think I could have done it, but it would have been hard. But I get rid of the Snorlax right here. I get my +1. And now he brings in Thundurus. All I can do here is click knockoff and I get rid of him. Apparently this was like a 25% roll in my favor to knock him out, but Kartana comes through. Kartana comes through. This thing, DMPC, Dunder Mifflin Paper Company, it never fails. So we knock him out with a Thundurus. Because I have Magic Room up, he did tell me after the game that this was a Psychic Seed Hitmonlee, but because of Magic Room, he can't use that, or if he was Scarfed, he can't use that. So I can just Leaf Blade right here, no sashes or anything. I get rid of that thing, and Kartana has just done it. I go for the knockoff, get rid of the Bronzong, and all he has left is this T-Tar, which will not stand in front of a +4 Kartana. So I go for that Leaf Blade, knock out his T-Tar, and just like that, we are 1-0 with a +4 differential. Kartana finishes this game 5-0, going on a really awesome Magic Room sweep. And yeah, so we managed to pull this one out in a very kind of unceremonious style for Abe, since I did get that crit. But if we're being 100% real, he hacked me in the past, so I hacks him now. We're even. But yeah, and I only needed that hacks because he was able to dodge a Stone Edge, and he also got a Body Slam Para to add insult to injury. But yeah, that's the game. It was just, I knew this outcome was very possible just because of how weak his team is to Cart. And yeah, we just kind of went and did that. We just totally came in with Kartana and bodied his team. So I'm very happy with this outcome. We're now 1-0 with a +4, which is great since we have huge competition in our division in Rob and Gypsy, who are both also 1-0 and very potent threats that I'm gonna have to play later in the season, which I'm not looking forward to. Yeah, that's week 1. Super stoked about this. Kartana is the MVP of this game because it just came through. 5-0. So right now it's sitting at the top of the kill leaderboards. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed this. If you did, like, comment, whatever. Tell me what you thought of the game, and I will see you all next time with another video and something. Bye.